Hello and welcome to this video on how to embrace working from home and feel empowered. And the reason I'm running this right now is that some of my clients have always worked in an office environment, they've always worked with a team around them, and they were really panicking about how on earth they were going to keep themselves motivated and productive working from home. So I thought, well, let's put this together to help them to get over that hurdle and to find out how to not only get through these challenging times, but to thrive through it, to really embrace working from home and to find that they can be really productive. And I'm convinced that this period of time is really going to change the way we work in the future. It's going to make us really think about needing to travel to places, or can we use this fantastic platform? Well, obviously I'm using Zoom this time, but there's so many great platforms that we can use to connect with each other, to save that traveling time and therefore to save polluting the atmosphere, which we were doing a very good job of before all this kicked off. So what I'm going to be doing today is sharing some of my top tips on how we can work from home effectively. But I'm also going to first of all look at some of the benefits, because there are many benefits and it's important to appreciate those. And I'm going to talk about a few of the challenges that you might be experiencing right now. So recognizing that this is an unusual way of working for a lot of you. If you're watching this and you're used to working from home, then I'm sure there'll be a couple of things that you're not doing that you could do a lot more effectively. So I hope you're going to find some value in this too. So first of all, I'm just going to share my screen with you. So let me just do that right now and share. Fantastic. Okay. And thing when you're sharing your screen is to make sure that you're on the right slide. There's today's first tip. So how to be super productive in your home environment. And I always like to start everything that I'm doing with why. Why are we doing this? Well, obviously it's because of this global pandemic right now. These are totally unprecedented times. None of us have ever lived through this before, and hopefully we'll never live through it again. But, you know, there's a real feeling that the majority of us are really doing our bit for the world, for our community, in slowing down the spread of this virus, and in so doing saving lives. So apart from the shock of the lockdown and the isolation, there's also that real feeling of we can do this, we can get through this together. So today I want us to be able to think about how we thrive through these times, not just get through each day, but how we actually develop and grow and evolve through these times. And most of us will have more time than usual. Some of you may be furloughed already. And when all the kind of immediate pressing work on your desk is done, it may be that you have a lot more time. So how can you use that effectively and to your advantage going forward? If, just in case you don't know me, this is just a little bit about me. I tend to work a lot with business leaders, but also with entrepreneurs. And I'm very much about connecting you or enabling you to connect with who you are at your core at a really deep level, fully appreciating the unique value that you bring to the workplace and to life, and recognizing it in such a way that you feel really comfortable sharing that value, not in an arrogant way, but in a very authentic way, so that when you meet people, when you're out on the networking scene, or when you're working with clients, they can really see the value that you offer. And therefore it makes them easy to recommend you, and it makes it much easier for them to work with you again, because they can see that overarching impact that you have. So let's start with the benefits. And the first obvious benefit is the lack of the commute. Now, you may not have a long commute, but some of the people I was working with last week have a commute of an hour and a half each way every single day. So that's 3 hours a day. You multiply that up by the 5 working days, and suddenly 15 hours of your time is being given back to you. That is massive. That's the equivalent of 2 full working days. So just think what you can do with 2 extra days a week. Now, I'm not suggesting that you fill your normal working hours and 2 extra days every week. However, with those 2 extra days, you can decide to start at 7, which might be when you normally leave home, and perhaps finish at 3, and then have some time out in the garden, or time with family, or time to devote to learning and growing and going through a course or exercising. And it's not just about saving time, it's also about the money you save from not traveling, and from the quick coffee you might grab on the way, or the lunch you grab on the run. There's a lot of benefits to actually working from home. Secondly, you can set up an environment at home that is right for you. Now, I appreciate some of you might be living in a flat right now. You might not have much room, particularly if you've got a couple of kids and a partner at home. But it's important to find somewhere in your environment where you can set up your computer and it's your working space. Ideally, if you can leave your computer there and anything else you need for working, so that you don't have to reset it every day. And if you can use the same space every day, then your brain will automatically associate that space with switching into work mode. And obviously it's ideal if you can look out the window, look out in the garden, have plenty of natural light around you. That will boost your energy and your inspiration. Another great benefit of not being in an office environment is the reduction in interruptions. If you think of the number of times you are interrupted by colleagues asking your opinion, asking if you've received an email or if you've sent an email, reminding you about a meeting coming up, asking you to look over an email they've done, constant interruptions. And, you know, our brains have never been as tired as they are nowadays, because not only are we constantly interrupted in open plan offices, but also we've got our phone pinging constantly with email notifications, text messages, social media posts. We've got emails coming in on our computers. And so the brain is on from the moment we get up to the moment we get to bed, and it's tired out. So being at home, you can minimize those interruptions from your team. I appreciate that you'll get some interruptions for family if you've got family at home, but they can be managed. So here are some stats for you. Interruptions may cost more than 23 minutes for a worker in an office to get back to where they left off. So even a few seconds, 10-second interruption can take you 23 minutes to get back into deep creative thought. Interruptions as short as 2.8 seconds can cause twice as many mistakes. And people working in cubicles are interrupted 20% more than those who've got their own individual office. So lots of stats there. And the final one I want to share is that open plan offices have been found to reduce productivity by as much as 40%. So enjoy having an environment at home where you can minimize those interruptions. And I'll come on to some ways you can do that with family shortly. And then, of course, we can walk out in the fresh air. And haven't we been blessed since we went into lockdown with pretty good weather for this time of year? And just walking out of your door into your garden, or having a walk around the block if you live in an apartment or haven't got a garden, getting fresh air is so good for us on all levels. It gets us away from the computer and the blue screens that we're in front of all day, the blue light. It gets us, gets our brain away from all that stimuli that we've got around our desk and our phone. And it just helps us to breathe deeply, to breathe in that fresh air. And it feels good to be alive, particularly right now with all the spring flowers in bloom. So make sure you're getting outdoors as often as you possibly can. If you live in an apartment and you've got a balcony, get out on your balcony, or open the windows and take in some deep breaths. So all in all, you're able to achieve better work-life balance because you decide what you're doing when, you manage your start and finishing times, and you can build in your leisure time, your family time around your working life. And then, of course, you can continually learn and grow at home. And I think it's really important to build learning into our schedules so that we've got dedicated time where we're listening to webinars, podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever medium you choose, but you're actually evolving and growing whilst you're in isolation, so that when you come back to the workplace, you've got more value to offer. So that's some of the many benefits. I know there's a lot more, but I just wanted to come on to now some of the challenges. And if you're used to working in a team and in an office environment, one of the biggest challenges is isolation. Particularly if you live on your own, you'll really be missing the buzz of other people around you. You'll be missing the chat, the jokes, the inspiration you get from other people when you're perhaps feeling a bit low. And that can feel incredibly isolating. And particularly right now when we can't get out to the gym, we can't go out for a meal, it can be compounded. So it's really important that we carry on some form of social interaction, and I'll be coming on to that in my top tips. Also, if you're used to working in a team, you'll be used to the camaraderie, the in-jokes, you'll be used to having fun, brainstorming together, sharing ideas, asking for advice in the moment, and you'll really miss that sense of all working together. And again, that can be brought into your working routine in various different ways, and I'll touch on that in my tips. I love this quote by Zig Ziglar: lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24-hour days. And working from home can be challenging in that you're literally getting out of bed, sitting down at your computer, and it's too easy to then trawl through the emails, spend some time answering them, then trawl through all your social media posts and add some comments, and then have a look at the news, see what's happening. And before you know it, lunchtime is looming and you've actually achieved nothing. So you've probably all heard of this: failing to plan is planning to fail. I'm a great believer in planning effectively. So I will be sharing a planning template that I'm very happy to send to you afterwards. And of course, if you've got a partner and children at home, then there are inevitable distractions and interruptions. If you think about it, young children particularly, when you're at home, it's usually because you're on holiday or it's weekends, and that means fun, it means going out, it means spending quality time with them. So they're going to be really confused that now you're at home so much, but you haven't got much time for them. So really important to explain what's going on. Children know that this is a really unusual situation. And if we hide it from them, they're only going to make up their own stories. And that can be really scary. So important that we share enough information so they understand the information, but are not really frightened by it. But also that you're really clear on when they can spend time with you and when they can't. Now, if you're working at home with a partner, your husband, your wife, then sit down with them and work out a schedule that works for you both. It may be that one of you works part-time, and it may be that you can split the day between the two of you. So one of you works in the morning and the other one works in the afternoon. And when you're not working, you are the point of contact for the children, and they know if they need anything, then you're the person to come to. If you work alone and your children have got lots of activities, but you've promised to spend some time with them, then really important that they can watch the time and they know exactly when you're going to be free. So a great way of managing this, so they're not constantly asking if you're ready, is to set up an iPad with a timer on that iPad so they can watch the minutes. While they're doing their activities, they can keep checking and going, oh yeah, I've only got half an hour, I've only got 15 minutes, oh, it's 5 minutes. And therefore they can really look forward to that quality time with you. But make sure you stick to the time. Otherwise, they're not going to believe you next time. And then finally, I just want to address the challenge of fear. These are really uncertain times. We have never lived through this before. And we don't know when it's going to come to an end or how it's going to come to an end. We don't know how it's going to impact on us personally or how it's going to impact on the people we love and our colleagues and our friends. So it's very understandable, as I said earlier, to be fearful, and it's okay. And it's important to register that we are concerned, that we are fearful, but not to dwell on it. Now, last week I was working with somebody whose husband is a health and safety inspector, and he had the news on constantly because he wanted to be able to react in the moment and share it with his team. So I asked, after our session, I said to her, look, ask him if he's willing to watch it on his laptop with headphones so that you don't have to hear the news constantly 24/7. So he's now done that, and she is feeling so much more upbeat because she's not constantly hearing all the latest figures and all the doom and gloom. So I think it's really important to check in once a day to understand what's going on, what the spread of the virus is, what the latest guidelines are, what new advice on our health and well-being has been given, but then to switch it off and distance ourselves from it. There is nothing to be gained from constantly checking our phones every half an hour, every hour, just to get the latest news. It will only drag us back into the concern and the fear around the situation. And it's really important to keep ourselves upbeat. So let's come on to all the tips I have for helping you to work more effectively. Now, I said that working from home, really important to have a dedicated space. It might be a worktop in your kitchen. It might be your dressing table if you're in a small apartment and there's not much room and you've got family around. It might be a corner of a room where you can just set up a table. But wherever it is, make it conducive to feeling good. Have some of your favorite things around you, not cluttering your desk, but just a nice picture you can look at, a favorite plant next to you. And then for your desk itself, keep it as clear as possible. We apparently look at papers on our desk 15 times each day, a minimum of 15 times each day, which means the brain is registering that you've got a lot of stuff to get to. And that will drain the brain's energy. So only have on your desk the piece of work you're working on right now, your laptop, your pens. I've got flowers and crystals, etc. on my desk, but a minimum of stuff on your desk so that the rest of it is clear and you're not being distracted from what you're working on in the moment. You can get innovative about your workspace, set up a workspace in your garden, or if you've got a balcony, then isn't this fabulous? Little bracket that sits on your balcony that you can put your laptop on and just enjoy the fresh air. And this is where I work. So there's my crystals, my candle, my flowers. I have my big bottle of water. I'm going to be talking about hydration very shortly. And then I'm just looking out on beautiful garden. I'm very, very fortunate. To the right, looking out, I have a tree. I have a couple of bird feeders on the tree. And I love just looking up and watching the squirrels and the birds throughout the day. And it makes me lift my eyes away from the screen at regular intervals, which has got to be a good thing. Then make it fun. You know, when I'm working on anything new, I brainstorm. I've got an A3 pad. I've got a whole box of Sharpies, and I make it fun. I make it colourful. And when we brainstorm, we're making our thoughts visual, and our brain sees in pictures. So doing a mind map like this or drawing pictures of what we want to achieve will help the brain to register it much more clearly. And then each of these different spiders' legs that are going out there, I will then do another mind map on that and expand it. So it really helps me to get to grips with creating anything new. My other key piece of kit is my headphones, those orange headphones on the left there, and they completely drown out the noise of my family in the background. If they are being noisy, then I just put some creative music on, and I find that they are essential to working at home. So here is my priority planner. Now you can see at the top, it's a weekly priority planner. So I tend to fill this in on a Sunday, but then on a daily basis, the day before the next day, I will fill this in for the next day. So the urgent box is anything that I absolutely must get done that week or that day. they're not quite as urgent as the urgent. And the pending is anything that I am waiting for more information. So it might be that I need to do some research to find out more information. I might be waiting for some input from a colleague or a client or some information from them. So anything that's pending that I can't take forward right now goes in that box, and I want to record it so that it's out of my head, because if I'm trying to hold all that in my head, it's using up valuable brain space. And let's face it, we all need as much brain space as we can possibly get. My delegate box is anything that I delegate to my virtual team. So that might be to my accountant, my bookkeeper, my PA, or my social media guru. And they are so much better at the work that they do well than I am. So anything that I can delegate to them frees up my valuable time to do what I do best, which means that I'm happy playing to my strengths and they're happy playing to their strengths. We were never born to be jack of all trades. So what do you love doing? Try and spend 80% of your time doing what you do best and delegating as much as possible. Anything that's on my mind that I need to make a decision on will go into that decision box. And again, I want to record it because it's something that I want to think through. I might want to brainstorm it, mind map it. I don't want to lose the thoughts, but I'm not ready to make a decision yet. So it's just capturing it. And then next week, obviously, anything that can wait till next week. I then just like to look at these three categories. What are my major goals this week? And then daily, I usually have 3 major goals I want to work on. What are the projects I need to move forward this week? And what are the tasks and actions, the key tasks and actions I want to get done? Now, I'm very happy to send this to you. Just drop me an email and I'll pop this across to you. Breaks, taking breaks is so important. And when we're working from home, it's all too easy to sit at our desk and be there from morning till night with just a quick break for lunch. And the longer we spend at our desk, the less productive we become because our brain is tired. So there's been lots of research done on this. And what has been found is that the ideal time to work is 52 minutes. 52 minutes working and 17 minutes break. Now that might not sound enough work time for you. And let me just caveat that by saying, if you're working on something really creative and you're writing and it's really flowing, then by all means work on a bit longer, but try not to work beyond 90 minutes because you really will start to deplete the brain's creativity. Also, the brain needs that break just to decombust, to process what you've been doing and to be ready for the next piece of work you're going to focus on. And while 17 minutes might sound an awfully long time, if you think about it, by the time you walk into the kitchen, boil a kettle, make a cup of tea, go to the loo, perhaps talk to your partner or somebody at home, walk out in the fresh air, that's kind of 15 minutes gone already. It's not that long. And the way to monitor this is to set a timer on your phone, which will ping when it's time for your 52 minutes break, and then time to come back to work. And soon, if you do that often enough, you'll just get into the way of working that way, particularly when you see the long-term benefits and the clarity that you have when you come back to your desk. Nutrition is so important when our immune systems are being battered with viruses and all the bugs that go around, and particularly right now with COVID-19. So important that we look after our nutrition as well as possible. And if any of you have ever worked with a nutritionist, they will advise you to eat a rainbow. So this is a really colourful, well-balanced plate with all the different food groups there. And really important to include all these food groups in your daily nutrition plan. The key thing is to prepare in advance. So the night before or the morning, just get together a whole load of crudités, chopped vegetables in your fridge, have a couple of healthy dips to hand so that when you get hungry, you're not instantly reaching for the toast or the sandwich, which will peak your blood sugar, but then plunge it down again very quickly, and results in that after dinner slump, after lunch slump. So try and get a really balanced, healthy diet. It will make you feel much brighter, much more alert, much more productive. And you're subconsciously saying, I matter enough to invest in myself. Now, along with nutrition, of course, comes hydration. It might surprise you to know that our brains are 85% water, and most of us are chronically dehydrated most of the time. We do not drink enough water. I'm not talking about tea and coffee here. I'm talking pure water. And the recommended guideline is 2 litres a day. Personally, I find the easiest way is to have a container with a set amount of water in it and to fill it up as necessary through the day. And then I know exactly how much I've been drinking each day. So do whatever works for you, but up your hydration and look at the difference it makes. Just a couple of interesting facts about hydration. When your brain depletes 1% of water, you're likely to have a 5% decrease in cognitive brain function. Things like your attention span, your ability to recall information, your ability to work through complex documents and spreadsheets, etc. They will be substandard if you're dehydrated. Other symptoms of lack of water, fatigue, and memory issues. So it's really important to establish a daily routine, particularly right now when we need our immunity to be as strong as possible. So this is my daily routine. I don't expect it to be yours, but I just thought I'd share it, and there might be some ideas there that you could introduce, or you may already be doing a lot of this stuff. So the first thing I do every morning is I listen to a guided meditation. I use headphones, I use my iPhone, and I use Insight Timer, which is a free app. So I really recommend it. It's packed full of incredibly inspiring meditations. It's got podcasts, it's got fantastic music and all different lengths. So if you've only got 5 minutes, there is a 5-minute meditation for you. So really recommend that. And starting the day with meditation helps you to go from that period of rest and sleep into work in a slow transition, rather than leaping out of bed and expecting your brain to immediately be switched on and into work mode. Secondly, I write 5 things I'm grateful for in my gratitude diary. Now, you can buy gratitude diaries, but a notebook is absolutely fine. And every single one of us can think of 5 things we're grateful for. It might be that we've got a roof over our head. It might be that we've got family at home with us. It might be that you've got a hot cup of tea that morning, or it might be waking up to beautiful sunshine. Or you might have just gained a new client or just had a wonderful coaching session. There are lots of things we can find in our daily life to be grateful for, and starting the day with an attitude of gratitude puts a really positive perspective on our day. Then I do some journaling. Now, journaling, there's no magic. It's not a dark art. There's no right and wrong. Journaling is simply downloading what's in your brain, or brain dumping your thoughts, as I've written here. And it's a great way of getting that jumble of thoughts into some sort of order. And as you write about them, you very often work out ways in which you can address those thoughts. Or you very often find that actually they're not as bad as you initially thought. Now, sometimes when you're doing this, creative ideas will come into your mind. So it's important to have a piece of paper or another notebook beside your bed so that you can just note down any actions that you want to take forward as a result of journaling. But some days you'll just write. There is no pressure to come up with fresh ideas or creativity. It's all about just sorting out the thoughts in your head and getting them into some sort of order. The key thing here, though, is once you've finished, don't read what you have written, because you are downloading your thoughts. By reading them, you are then uploading them back into your brain and filling your brain up with that jumble of thoughts. So just close the book. If you want to go back in 6 months' time and read about where you were 6 months ago, that's absolutely fine. Fourth thing that I do is a yoga and exercise routine, and this really helps me to feel that I'm valuing my body, and it's a sort of routine that I can do anywhere. So if I'm staying in a hotel for work, I can do this, which means I can fit it in 5 or 6 times a week. So what could you fit in? And if you're not currently doing any kind of exercise, YouTube is full of wonderful exercise and yoga videos. So try some out, find out what works for you, and build in your own routine that you can just do whenever it suits you to keep you feeling fit and healthy. And then finally, every day I prepare freshly squeezed vegetable and fruit juice. Now, my husband's at home at the moment, so I prepare all the fruit and vegetable, and he actually does the juicing. So we're splitting the task and splitting the time. But what it means is that the 4 of us, my 2 daughters are at home as well, we get a big hit of vitamins and minerals right at the start of the day. And I can honestly almost feel my cells saying thank you as that juice goes down into my system. It's such a brilliant way to start the day, and it just makes me feel a bit special. So you can imagine when I've done all that, by the time I sit down at my desk, I'm feeling really vibrant and powered up and energized. Now, as I said, I'm not expecting you to do all of this or even half of it, but is there something there that you could introduce into your daily routine that would strengthen your resilience and your resistance to this virus and keep your immune system as well and healthy as it possibly can be? And then just a word about how you dress at home. If you just fall out of bed, open up your laptop and sit there and work away, there is no demarcation between leisure and work. The fact that you're in your gear that you sleep in or relax in, the brain is still in relaxation mode. Quite important to have a demarcation between leisure and work. So get dressed, not being suited and booted, but wearing something that you feel a bit professional in, that you'd be quite happy to come on a Zoom call, for example, and be seen. So just a favorite jumper. If you like jeans and a smart shirt, absolutely fine, but at least you feel that you've dressed for work, you're in work mode. And then I mentioned earlier the problem of isolation. So really important to stay in touch, and it's never been easier to keep that connectivity going than it is right now through Zoom calls and webinars and videos like I'm doing right now. And I know a lot of my clients are having regular Zoom calls, in fact, every day with their teams. And they're discussing what their key priorities are. They're discussing who's working on what their challenges are, what their deadlines are they're aiming to meet. And they're brainstorming any new ideas that they're looking at. So it's really giving them that community feel, that chance to bounce ideas off each other and to inspire and motivate each other. I think it's also important to have an accountability buddy. So someone that knows you really well, it might be somebody you work with, might be somebody who works in another organization, but really understands your working life and your challenges, and to have an accountability call every day. So you discuss what each of you are working on, you commit to certain actions in that day, things that you're going to do and achieve, and then you have an accountability call at the end of the day or the next morning to report back on what you achieved. There is nothing like having an accountability call looming to make you hit those deadlines. And it just gives you somebody to share your working day with. Now, our connectivity doesn't just need to be with colleagues. I know that we've been having Zoom calls with family and with friends. We've been having a cocktail hour at weekends. So make it fun. As I say, it's never been easier to stay in touch. So use the connectivity we have to make sure you're not feeling lonely and you're not feeling isolated. And also, it's a great time to get in touch with people that you've lost touch with. And a lot of your clients now will probably be quite glad to hear from you because they're feeling a little bit isolated too. So use this time to get back in touch. And then I mentioned earlier about learning and growing. TED Talks are a wonderful way to learn from experts, and they are really inspiring. So to keep yourself upbeat, motivated, and inspired, watch a TED Talk 2-3 times a week, and you will learn from it. Or go onto a webinar, online course, and keep learning, keep growing, so that when you come back to the workplace, you've got new knowledge to share with your clients and your colleagues. Or work with a coach, work with a coach or a mentor. Somebody that can dig deep with you, that can question you on what you're doing, where you're going, why you do what you do, where you want to go in the future. You might be feeling that you want to step up in your career, you might want to step sideways, or you might want a completely different direction. And a coach will be able to help you to look at where you are now, look at your particular skill set, and plan how you're going to transition into a new role in the future. What a great time to invest in you and your future growth. And then finally, engagement. Really important to keep everybody engaged. Really important to keep everybody engaged. I'm sorry about the background noise. And appreciation is one of the biggest drivers of engagement. So say thank you more often. Make sure you recognize a job well done and a goal achieved. Celebrate weekly wins. Give clear directions. Check in daily. And share your vision. So on those calls, make them upbeat, recognize people that have achieved their goals. And you're not having the high five you normally get in an office, so have the virtual high five. A lot of people are worried about the future, where the business is going to be, whether they've got a job. So share your future vision as well, so that people feel more at ease with where they're going to be going forward. So I mentioned some special offers. These are just for this period of time. I know that a lot of people are not very comfortable about spending money at this moment in time. So I've slashed all the prices on my offers, and here they are right now. And you can see more details on my website, which is sylviabaldock.com. The Becoming More Significant is a deep dive into you, connecting you with who you are at your core, helping you to build more confidence, more self-esteem, to really recognize the unique value you have to offer and being able to share that in a very authentic way. I'll also be looking at your values, your vision for the future, a business plan for the future, and then how you're networking and how you present yourself in a networking or speaking arena. So lots of different aspects to that. The Power Hour is literally an hour to review, revitalize, recharge, look at where you are, where you want to go to, and some actions to take. And then the masterclasses for groups and teams on various different subjects, which you'll see on my website. Then I just wanted to say, your thoughts become your actions. If you tell yourself you can't work from home, then your brain will believe it and it will say, okay, I'll make sure you're not very productive. So in summary, embrace the many benefits of working from home. Savor the connectivity we have with colleagues, clients, and prospects. Stay positive and resilient by investing in your greatest asset, which of course is you. And I have a lot more thoughts and all the top tips I've shared with you in my April newsletter. If you'd like that, please just email me. It's sylvia@sylviabaldock.com. I just want to finish with sharing a few thoughts that I gathered when I was putting this together. Remember, we are part of history in the making, and in years to come, children will learn about how we survived and thrived through these challenging times. You can go through it in fear and negativity. You can complain about the things you can't do, the people you can't see, or the material things you can't buy. And in so doing, not only drain your own energy, but also the energy of everyone you talk to. Stress depletes our immune system, and God knows we need our immune systems to be as strong as they possibly can right now. So, in conclusion, start the day with gratitude for another day to live your life, to create and communicate, and to evolve and grow. We are being stretched in a way we have never been stretched before. We are tapping into hidden strengths we didn't know we possessed, and we will come out stronger and wiser as a result. One final quote from Oprah. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. So I wish you well. Stay safe. Take care. And my very best wishes for your future success.